she'd been well trained. Stop what you're doing and wait until you go sit by them and then continue the conversation. So if you have a kid in your class that's rowdy and you're trying to tell the gospel story and can't get it out, just go sit by them, stop your story for a second, go sit by them. When you get there, start the story back up and then it'll kind of bring it back around. Call the individual aside and give them a choice to remain in the group or go to the quiet spot in the room until they regain themselves. As soon as possible after group time, talk to the individual about their behavior and let them know that their behavior is distracting others. It's okay to be honest with them. Do not demean them. Don't be ugly. You're being very bad today. That's never helpful. Just say, let me tell you what our expectation is, and let me tell you what your behavior is doing to the rest of the group, okay? Put a positive spin on instructions. Pay attention to this. This one will be on the test, and almost everybody misses it, so I'm just giving you a heads up. Put a positive spin on instructions. So, if, for instance, someone, and you need to finish the sentence on the test, by the way. So, if someone is running and you don't want them to run, what's our typical response? Oh, see, look, she's already done the positive spin. Most of us will say, stop running, right? But what we really want them to do is walk. So she said, walk, please. That's a positive spin on an instruction, all right? You can start it like this. Remember to walk. If they're touching other people in line because, they're just the boy's behind the girl and he's just agitating her. You know how y'all do. Just, and usually you'll hear, he's touching me. Okay, so we need to keep our hands to ourselves. We need to use our hands for kindness. We need to put our hands in our pockets. We need to put our hands behind our backs, that kind of thing. Call out the name of the individual. Hey, Morgan. Suddenly they're going to turn. Now you can redirect their activity. Let's do this. You have a whole group and they're doing something wrong and you need to get them back into control. Let's do this. Let's all sit on the square in the circle. All right? Now, what they were doing is they were not sitting where they were supposed to. You want to get them back to where they're supposed to. So let's do this. Let's all sit on these squares in this big circle. Here's what we need to do. It is always appropriate to set the expectation first, all right? If you have a bunch of kids that have come into the room and they're going crazy, here's what we need to do. Instead of saying, y'all stop it, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. No. Here's what we need to do. We're all going to blah, 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 blah. Set out the instructions, okay? You can always ask somebody who's misbehaving, what do you need to do? Put it back on them. What do you need to do right now? All right? If they're jumping up and down, what do you need to do right now? Sit down, right? They'll roll their eyes or whatever. Help them be appropriate at that. When your disciplining efforts are not working and you cannot get control of an individual and can't help them to gain control of themselves in the classroom, then you are going to need to get help. And on this campus, the director will be Beth Vickers. On First Church, the director is Martha Barnett. And so you will need to get outside help for that. If the problem continues and it is in such a fashion that it is totally disruptive to the program, then one of the pastors may be contacted to contact the parent. All right, we will make every effort to never terminate participation because we believe that this is an opportunity for them to learn the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and it's important. So we're going to use every opportunity to prevent them having to leave. But if it puts other kids at risk, then we will terminate their ability to be there. On the biting policy, let me tell you a couple things. Biting is normal stage of development. It should cease by an appropriate age. Mike Tyson never learned that. That's why he is known for biting an opponent in the boxing arena, right? It's usually because they're frustrated, they don't know how to speak about their emotions, and then they'll bite. It's usually a temporary condition that is most common between 13 and 24 months, so that's a little 2 years between a year and 2 years. But for safety and health reasons, we have to take it seriously. It is stressful for all involved. Parents whose children bite go through great stress because they know their child is causing harm to someone else. People whose children are being bitten are under great stress because how can I send it back in that classroom knowing there's a kid going to bite them? So it's very stressful. We do not blame. We understand that there are reasons why children bite, and there are varied reasons. It's a learned behavior with cause and effect. For instance, biting gets results. So if I'm a 2-year-old and my 1-year-old sibling has taken my truck, if I bite their hand, they let go of the truck, I get the truck, I've just gotten the cause and effect I want, right? So it's effective, that's why it continues to be used. So we have to use a way, we have to kind of intervene in that effective pattern so it can stop. For instance, if we notice that they're biting so they can get something, we now take those toys away. They can't have it after it's been successfully achieved by biting someone. We also are going to put all of our immediate attention first on separating the children, the bitee from the biter, and we are going to put our attention on the bitten child. All right? That means we're going to immediately separate them. You can turn to the child who is bitten with a firm no. Not in a demeaning, hateful way, just a firm no. All right? Then you're going to handle the child who's been bitten. If its skin is broken, you will wash it out with soap and water. You can put ice on it to get the swelling down, that sort of thing, and of course provide comfort to the child who is more than likely wailing. Okay. Then you can go back to the biter after the other's been taken care of and explain why that was inappropriate and why they cannot do it. You can ask the child, why did you do that? Do you know why you were doing that? What was it you wanted in that moment? Some children are able to articulate that. Remember the 2.5-year-old who could change hydrated to dehydrated? They know, and they can talk about it sometimes. Don't assume just because they're 2 that they can't. So our policy is that once those things have been done, you who were the teacher in the room are to write up an incident report about the bite, what you saw happen, just facts, okay? Put that down. Both parents will be contacted by whoever the director is on your campus and be told, we do not share the names of the bitee with the biter or the biter with the bitee's parents, okay? We don't share it. We protect the victim and the victimizer always, okay? Now, they're pretty smart. They can usually figure it out. Oh, I see this kid with an ice pack on their arm. Okay, I can tell that's who my kid bit. All right. So they may figure it out, but we're not sharing that information. All right? Watch to see if there's any patterns that happened around it, and you may be able to prevent it from happening another time or another day. There have been cases where a biter has bitten 3 or 4 kids in one day. So if you can pay attention and figure out what's bringing it about, you can stop more victims, okay? And you may have to make adaptations to your classroom or your environment, including you may not sit certain kids next to each other, that sort of thing. So you're going to make every effort to protect them in your care. Lots and lots of information. Whew.